Today is Friday, and I went and bought way too many guitars. The last few weeks have been crazy outside of the shop, and I haven't been able to get a chance to get out there as much and look for stuff. And I had a window of opportunity today, and went to do a couple deals. What was supposed to be buying a guitar or two turned into way too much. Let's go check out what we bought. We got a bunch of cool stuff in today. A few cool things came in the last week or so. Let's check it out. We'll start with this last one I was bringing in. This is a cool one. So you can see they still have the plastic on the zippers. But yeah, here we have a 2022 Gibson Les Paul Tribute. This is a very cool guitar. I've always been kind of hit or miss on the Les Paul Tributes, but this one is really awesome. Obviously they've done a lot of different models. But this one's really cool. Obviously this one is closer to the standard. They've done like a lot of Les Paul specials and stuff, which if you know me, like I'm a Les Paul special guy, but the tribute specials are not really my thing. But this goes off and I would go for sure. But yeah, it's one of the mintiest guitars I've had in a long time. It's literally barely been played, so I'm sure this one won't last very long. Another absolute treat. This is a 1996 Lone Star Strat. Originally, when I first looked at this, I thought this is probably some sort of American standard from the 90s that somebody's modded with a humbucker and put the Seymour Duncan in there. Upon further consideration, this is actually an all-original Fender Lone Star Strat made in the US, which are actually pretty rare. They did a Mexico run of them a while later, but this is one of the proper Fender American Lone Star Strats, which are pretty rare. I'm not sure if this is Shoreline Gold or Desert Gold. Obviously, we'll figure that out when we're going through the listing process, but given its age, it's pretty clean. There's a little bit of wear, there's a little ding here and some other normal stuff, but for being a guitar that is older than me, I'll take it. And of course, you got the original chainsaw case, which is something a lot of people get excited about. Alright. So this one did not come in today, but it came in I guess earlier in the week, technically. And I think this one deserves a video on its own. But this is a first year Gibson Howard Roberts Acoustic Electric from 1975. It's not all original, which is actually part of why I want to do kind of its own video. Usually these had a full-size humbucker to my knowledge, and so I would like to figure out what this mini humbucker is and really just dive into this. Also, these are normalized sunburst finish, kind of more like that ES120 on the wall there. But this one has aged so much, it's almost become this like orange, kind of dark orange burst, which is really cool. And I mean, that aging has carried to the back. This is a really cool piece, and it sounds great too. I'm sure it's perfectly in tune. And that's with these horrible old strings, so once we actually get this set up, this is going to be a really, really fun guitar. You know, they're a little pricey, as you would expect for a vintage guitar of this age, but this is actually kind of a lot of guitar for the money compared to what other things are going for right now. So investment-wise, this is actually a pretty good piece. I think you can get these sub 4,000 right now, which for a model this unique from the 70s is pretty respectable. So definitely very happy to get into this one. All right. We have the Ibanez case, but this is not an Ibanez. We have the vintage Epiphone 12 string. This is a really cool one. It's a really, really nice shape. This is made in Japan, which is, if you know me, you know I'm looking for that. This is an FT165. Not a super crazy high-end guitar or anything, but as far as 12 strings, I would say probably beats anything Epiphone has out right now, aside from their really nice American stuff they're doing, which is great. But I don't think they have a 12 string, so it sounds perfect. It's perfectly in tune. But yeah, this will be a fun guitar, and once we get some strings on here and go through it, this will be a really clean example of this. I'm thinking this is early 70s, probably 70 to 74, somewhere in that range. But yeah, it's a beautiful top on it, really nice rosewood back and sides. This is a bolt-on, which is how a lot of these were, which is something you don't see in acoustics very often anymore. But back in the, I guess mostly 70s, you saw a lot of the kind of mid-level acoustics coming out of Japan having that. And obviously this is a pretty big debate, but a lot of mid-level stuff made in Japan back in that era, or at least what was supposed to be kind of mid-tier, is now become really sought after because it's actually better than a lot of American production stuff now. Not trying to start that debate, but there's a reason I look for things that I do. This is another one that I didn't end up picking up today in person, but somebody came in the mail. And I can't wait to get more into this one. But this is an Orville, which is Gibson's Japanese production guitars from the, I believe, 80s, 90s, and I want to say early 2000s. And this is obviously a 335, and this thing it's a treat. I want to say this is a 1990, if I remember correctly. But really, really cool guitar. And yeah, a lot of the stuff you see made in Japan is supposed to resemble the American instruments. It's all pretty good quality. Some of it's exceptional, some of it's good. But this one, like, it really nails it because they did the nitro finish and they really did all the kind of appointments that you would on a proper Gibson. There's some companies like Fujigen that make a lot of really great and accurate kind of reproductions of vintage Gibson, even some vintage Fender stuff, and they're great. The quality's awesome. I think it's a lot better than kind of the other, you know, Indonesian or South Korean import guitars. But they usually use a poly finish, so when you have one like this that has the nitro and is just such a similar tooling, it's like this is really a great competitor to pretty much any ES335 you'd be looking at, whether it's an American one from Gibson or, you know, you want to look at something like this by Orville. This is going to be fun. This originally just had like a tune-o-matic and obviously a stop tail there, but now we have a Bigsby added. So I'm sure for someone that will be a treat, and for some I'm sure you will not buy this guitar because of that, and that is totally okay. The case is just demolished on this guitar, and it's very not the original case. There's also this like Fender logo here. Something is telling me that this is not original. I think somebody just put that on there. I don't know who made this case, but I'd like to have a word with them. Alright. So this is nothing too crazy, but I saw it and said we need that, so I bought it. This is a red label Yamaha FG180, which was kind of their nicer Japan stuff at a time, and I think these flew under the radar for a long time, but in the last few years have become very sought after. So excited to put some fresh strings on it and see what this sounds like. I literally didn't tune this. This was how I got it, and it's already sounding good. So just think how it'll be once we actually put the time into it that it deserves. Again, this is not a crazy high-end piece or anything, but this is a really cool guitar. All right. Here we have a guitar that I can't play. This is, unfortunately, I don't believe there's a way to determine the exact year, but late 90s to early 2000s, Jackson, made in Japan. Very shreddy guitar for somebody who plays guitar with the opposite hands as I do. Needs some normal setup work and stuff, but has the original Jackson hard case, has all the locking pieces with the trim arm, the Doesn't sound like something you should be excited about, but you would be shocked by how many of these, or these style kind of super Strat guitars that I find that have no locking pieces, no trem arm, or just all kinds of crazy stuff. But this is all original and it's all here, so excited to get into this one. And somebody who can play this, I'm sure will enjoy it. I will say these are definitely some guitars that I see going up in value in the next 5-10 years, as they're made in Japan and have a lot of the same kind of manufacturing and woods and everything as a lot of the stuff that's gone really crazy in value, but these haven't yet, so this might be a good time to get into them. This one in particular isn't a super high-end example. It has like the Duncan design pickups instead of the regular Seymour Duncans, so I'm not saying this is going to end up being a $1,000 guitar in 5 years, but I think that they are still a little undervalued at the moment. They have the Fender gig bag, but this is not a Fender. Here we have a German-made Warwick 5-string Corvette standard. This is the first one of these that I have ever got, but I saw it, played it. It's really heavy. I don't know the exact weight off the top of my head, but heavier than I expected. And this is just a beautiful guitar. This personally is not my taste, but I know somebody is jonesing for one of these, and if you are, we have one. So you know where to find this. But yeah, this will probably be on the site pretty soon. It doesn't really need much. Throw some strings on it. I know I can darken this fretboard a bit. This should be an awesome player, and it's just a very well crafted bass all around. So if this serves what you're looking for, you know, it's got active pickups, kind of jazz style, 5 strings, 24 frets, a lot of things that check a lot of boxes for like a certain kind of player. So if that's you, we got it. This is one of the original Fender Boxer series Strats, but this one has just a single humbucker, which is one they haven't reissued yet, which is cool. One humbucker, one volume knob, everything you need, nothing you don't. It's got the Kaler locking trem system, a very shreddy guitar, super comfortable neck. Obviously this one is going to need some setup work, and there's a part that I know needs to be replaced that is quite hard to find right now, so we will be going down that rabbit hole and getting this put together and getting this on the internet. But yeah, these are becoming harder and harder to find. I remember when I first kind of got into buying and selling guitars and collecting and all that fun stuff, I remember kind of running into various Fender Boxer series Stratocasters and Telecasters and kind of the equivalent precision basses and jazz basses, and they weren't as highly regarded back then, but now these have really gained a cult following, and even to the point that Fender just reissued them. The reissues are also great, but if you want the original, then they're still pretty attainable, and I don't know if they're going to end up getting crazy expensive. From what I've noticed, it's roughly the same price to get into a reissue as it is to get into the new ones, so it's really just up to personal preference at that point. Both are going to be great instruments, and you really can't make a bad choice there. I think that's it, because that's all the cases, but there's even more. This one we actually have had for a minute, but here, so let's talk about it. But this is a 2001 SG Special. Yeah, 2001 SG Special, and the bridge pickup was switched out for DiMarzio. This thing is awesome. This is probably one of my favorite sounding guitars at the shop, and these are always cool to me, like this style Special, because it's kind of almost all the guitar, and it's not as much as a standard, and it's more kind of like straightforward than a standard would be. You don't get stuff like the binding or the cool inlays, but they didn't skimp out on like the finish or like the pickups or tuners or any of that. These are awesome, like workhorse Gibsons. I don't think they really make any now that check all the same boxes as these, but these early 2000s ones were just really cool. Sounds really great. And yeah, this will be a workhorse guitar for somebody. It's got plenty of natural road wear on there, and I'm sure whoever gets it is going to be putting a lot more on it, as this guitar deserves. Also got this Schecter 12 string which I'd never seen one of these before, but, and well, you know, Schecter's not a brand that I'm exactly always after. This was a really cool piece, and as soon as I saw it and played it, I was like, this is gonna be cool. So we got some fresh strings on here, and yeah, should be coming up on the site pretty soon. This is nothing too crazy. This is an FSR Strat from a few years back, 2016. Comes stock with the humbuckers and a kind of a cool finish that you don't normally get. Really cool, kind of off-the-shelf guitar from Fender. I want to say this is probably a Guitar Center or Sam Ash exclusive, something like that. But yeah, they only did a small run of these. We're getting a little carried away here, but we got this. This is something, I'll be honest, I normally would have passed on because of the condition, and we'll look a little more into that, but this is an Epiphone PR15, obviously a vintage Epiphone acoustic, again, rosewood back and sides, but condition, not great. I don't know what's going on here, but the action is horrible. The fretboard is completely kind of cracked up there, and you can see the wood's just kind of concaving a bit there, if that's the right way to put that. This needs a lot. So this is not something I would have normally picked up, but we got into it for the right price. So either somebody else is gonna get a really good deal on it, or I'm gonna get this thing fixed up by my local luthier and be able to sell this as like a cool kind of vintage player's grade. Because for us and for what I look for the shop, this kind of checks all the boxes of like very well made guitar. It's older, it sounds awesome. I think this is more for your money than you'd get with a newer guitar. This is a great era for Epiphone, again, in Japan. Really, really cool piece. But in its current condition, it doesn't, you know, check what I'm looking for personally and what I would want to sell. So it's either gonna need some work, or if you are somebody who wants to do the work, I'll give you a insanely good deal on this, and you can have an awesome guitar for not a lot of money. So next, again, something that we wouldn't normally do for extremely different reasons, or at least something I normally don't seek out, but this is a Keith Mero 7-string from Schecter. I think this is from the first run of them, it was 2015. It's got the Seymour Duncans. I assume those are, I don't think they're Blackouts, I think they're like a winter, dark winter or something like that. Someone's gonna call me out in the comments because I don't know what I'm talking about, but I used to be more in tune with the metal guitar community, but not as much now. I'm sorry. But this is a really cool guitar. It looks awesome in person. It's got a really cool finish. Not something I would gravitate for my playing style by any means, but this guitar is not made for me, so it might be made for you. But super cool finish, neck through design. Honestly, I got nothing bad to say about this. Got one of the Ibanez Ergodyne basses. These are nothing crazy, but whenever I find them, I pick them up because they play really good. They sound great. They have super high output. This one needs a little bit of work, but we'll bring it back. And this should be a full player bass. I don't know why this is on the couch, but I did pick up a Nintendo Wii today. This is not gonna be for sale in the shop, but I'm keeping it. And I already have a Wii, but when you find them boxed, you pick them up, because this is the rare variant that comes with the Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort on the same disc, and I've never found one of those. Unfortunately, it doesn't play GameCube games. But
wait, that one doesn't?
No, it doesn't. There's no GameCube games. So if the Wii, this is the content people are looking for in the guitar videos, but if the Wii logo is oriented this way, it does not play GameCube games. There is no GameCube slot on the side, so you can't even use the GameCube controllers. It cuts some corners. We'll take that into consideration, but I got this for a good deal, as I always do.
They had a Wii controller that was like a GameCube thing, or no?
It did, but you couldn't use it for the GameCube games.
You could use it for the Wii game?
But you could use it for like Mario Kart Wii. Back to guitars. Alright, so this is a Silverburst FSR Fender Telecaster. And these have been getting like kind of crazy in price for the ones that are obviously all original and everything. But if my memory serves me correct, I think in 2011 Guitar Center did a run of 200 of these. This would have been one of those. But these usually came with single coil, so somebody modified this to have humbuckers in it. I already did put this one on the bench for a little bit, and it looks like this was routed, but like really, really professionally. So I was happy with that. So if you've been after one of these and don't want to pay a crazy price and want humbuckers, this could be a cool guitar. If you're looking for an all-original one, obviously this is not that. Short side note, I found an all-original one very recently, and I ordered it from a very reputable shop who I will not name. And the way they shipped it was horrible. And it got really dinged up in shipping and like chipped a bunch of finish off the back. And unfortunately, I had to return it. And I was bummed because they're very rare guitars. They're not anything super crazy. They're made in Mexico, but for what they are, they're pretty valuable. So having that show up all chipped up was not fun. And I didn't want to send it back, but what you gotta do. But this one is in much better shape, but it has been modified, so this isn't really a collector grade guitar. But if you've been looking for one as a player and don't want to pay the $1,400 that some of these Silverburst FSRs from that era, or I guess just that year, are going for, then yeah, this could be a cool one. Look at one more thing we bought today, which was we bought this Fender bass breaker. And I've never had one of these. I've played a bunch of them in other shops, but I've never had one come through. I've never owned one as a player. I don't know the exact lore on these. I think it's basically that the Marshall amps that were kind of built to be a hot-rodded bassman obviously sound quite awesome. I think the GTMs. And then this is kind of Fender's response to that many, many years later. And is their version of that. I don't know. They looked more at what Marshall did or looked more at doing their own rendition, but it's a cool amp. Unfortunately, that's kind of a world that I'm not entirely an expert in. So don't ask me about Marshall amps. I think they're cool, but I'm not an aficionado, so roast me in the comments if that was incorrect. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If that was not enough stuff, that's pretty much everything here was picked up today, unless otherwise mentioned. Like I said, went out to maybe make a deal or two, and ended up with all this. So hope you guys enjoy watching, and hope you guys enjoy these guitars once they get up to the shop and people make some awesome music with them. See you guys soon. Bye.